What is a giant hypocrisy that no one seems to mind? Italian moms that say you're too fat, then say I'm making grandma cry by not finishing my pasta. Etiquette for an Italian dinner. If you want a little more, say you want no more. If you want a lot more, say you want a little more. If you really don't want any more, don't finish. Leave a bite or two on your plate. Treating men getting raped in prison is a punchline, while treating women with more care. Rape is rape. It's not funny. It's serious. Also, when women flash their naked body at someone, it's drunken silly fun, but when a man does it, there will likely be an arrest or a beat down. Respect your elders. I won't respect them if they don't respect me. Age is not a magic spell to grant respect. Everyone deserves a small amount of base respect. That respect can be reduced or increased based on the actions of the person. The hypocrisy. People love to call it out but rarely notice it on themselves, and if they notice it, then it's something completely different or a distraction. Celebrities positioning themselves as champions for social justice while launching a clothing line with no comment on the labor conditions their garments are made in. Or those who tout climate change and have 5 houses and a private jet. People claiming to stand against racism then make excuses why it's okay for them to say racist shit about certain races of people. Black people can't be racist, and the whole gender double standards. The whole "it's impossible to be racist against white people" thing still has me confused. People preaching tolerance but then being super intolerant if you don't share their beliefs. You must be tolerant of my intolerance. My own personal hypocrisy. When I was a lot less well off financially, delivering pizzas trying to get through college, I kept a cup of coins in my car. When a homeless person would approach me for spare change, I gave them the cup. Most of the time it was nearly full, so there was probably $20 to $30 in there. Now that I have a good salaried job, even if I've got a few bucks in my wallet, I tend to not even make eye contact anymore. I know it's awful. I know it makes me shitty, but the last 4 to 5 years have made me a jaded dickhead towards people in general. I used to be so hopeful and I wanted to help everyone, and tried to live a life that reflected that. Now, while my general and political morality is pretty much the same, my personal morality has gotten more grey. I'm jaded. I hate people. I assume the worst of people. I used to assume the best of. I don't really care about the strangers around me like I used to, but I still expect everyone else to. For what it's worth, giving money to panhandlers is about the least effective way of helping the homeless that there is. There's a reason panhandling is illegal in most places. Find other ways of giving to the homeless and do that instead. Politicians work part-time, are given free housing, education, and healthcare, and exempt from the everyday violence we experience, but refuse to lift a finger to help us. Conservatives who are against abortion but also against people receiving government help such as Medicaid and food stamps. You want me to have a baby against my will, but you don't want me to have no help after it's born? Also, the same kind of people are sometimes anti-mask because they don't want anyone to tell them what to do with their body. You shouldn't tell me what to do either, motherfucker. My body, my choice, right? They don't give a shit about the baby, they just want you to be punished for having sex and dependent on whatever man knocked you up. Judgmental Christians. Christians who use the Bible as an excuse to be a shitty person. Jesus would not be proud. Cardi B admitted to drug men and rob them in her past and faces no repercussions in her career. If a male celebrity did anything like that in the past, his career would be over in an instant. There's plenty of male gangster rappers who have done stuff like that though. People will say you were selfish for killing yourself, because your death made people sad. People will not say they are selfish for expecting you to stay alive, and keep suffering, just so they don't get sad over your death. You know, I just don't agree. I had an aunt who killed herself in a way and place where her 12-year-old son was the only one who could possibly find her. That fucked him up royally. That was fucking selfish. She didn't just leave him, she left him in a traumatized state. Some people get genuinely upset about 9-year-olds playing Fortnite, yet they forget that not that long ago, Minecraft was viewed the same way. Pretty much everyone on Reddit follow this bandwagon trend blindly without actually asking themselves why kids having fun playing Fortnite is such a bad thing. I personally hate it because every future generation of gamer will now grow up thinking microtransactions are normal. But I'm guessing I'm in the minority in that regard. A lot of the practices that Electronic Arts are lambasted for are applauded by Tesla fans. You're always too young to decide not to have kids. But never too young to get pregnant with a child. Greater than but never too young to get pregnant with a child. Wait, what? People say that young people are too young to be parents all the time. When a news story about some guy murdering his whole family comes along, the article almost always ends with links to domestic violence hotlines websites. When a news story about some woman murdering her whole family comes along, the article almost always ends with links to mental health and self-care hotlines websites. Once read in a ITA post about a woman who ran away from her house when a small fire started, leaving her baby behind, and the man who wrote the post, went to get the baby to get out of the house. I'm not saying the woman must be treated horribly, human responses can be unpredictable, but almost everyone was defending her and saying she must have postpartum depression. You can't know that based on a simple post, and he shouldn't be worried about that little incident, because the fire was really small. It kept resonating with me because what would have happened if he was the one who ran away immediately? I bet nobody would have thought about the unpredictable human response that comes to someone when faced with a situation like that, and would have labeled him as irresponsible and to be wary of him. Or maybe not. All I got from reading this thread is that a lot of people don't know what hypocrisy means. Double standards and inconsistent positions are not the same as hypocrisy. Women who claim to be feminist but then they get upset if men don't pay for dinner, movie, random flowers, etc. Feminist means being equal, not women greater than men. It reminds of this post: the day my husband tells me to pay half rent is the day I pack my bags and go where you can't even afford half rent. Royal families in supposedly modern democracies. I heard that they make the country more money on stuff like tourism than they take from it. They aren't involved with decision making and most of the population seems to like them. Americans getting their panties in a bunch when China or Russia does shady crap, but acting like their shit doesn't stink. Everyone does this. Australians love to shit all over the USA for their treatment of asylum seekers, especially under Trump. Ask any of them their thoughts on Nauru, though, there's crickets. Canine hypocrisy: when you're eating they act all UWU and cute to beg for food, and when you get close to their food you get bit. Your dog shouldn't be biting you, dude. Might want to try dealing with that through training or something. People screaming at you if you don't want kids, and kids are the greatest thing in the world, and then turn around and whine how expensive they are and how annoying yada yada. Or treat their kids like absolute shit and a burden. If a woman is a virgin then it's seen as a good thing, but if a guy is a virgin then it's a bad thing. That's a double standard. A hypocrite would be someone who wants a virgin but wants to go out and have sex with as many people as they can. In Italy, prostitution is prohibited and both customers and prostitutes are punished by law. While every single town has prostitutes that work in precarious conditions and are in fact slaves controlled by the various mafia clans. This hypocrisy stems from the Catholic legacy and the Vatican influence. Americans wanting equality and ending racism, but have no problem being extremely racists to white Americans while giving a pass to anything a black American does. Have you seen the Nick Cannon video where he talks about melanin? How does that guy still have a job? Overweight gym teachers telling kids to exercise and stay healthy. No, Mr. Bats, why don't you run the pacer? Mr. Bats? More like Mr. Fats. *O***. Devoted Christians that hate refugees and poor people. Like, did they even pay attention? People who pretend to care for refugees and poor people but never taking one to own house and expecting other people pay for their map fee. Black people getting shot by police for not complying, yet white people think it's their right to literally storm the Capitol. Man, there are so many people in this thread who don't know what hypocrisy means. Go into virtually any thread in politics, news, or world news. Look for someone lamenting the rise of anti-intellectualism in the world. Count the number of typos, misspellings, and other such writing errors in that comment. Therein lies the hypocrisy. The same people complaining about anti-intellectualism are often simultaneously contributing to it, or even encouraging it. Writing errors are caused by either ignorance or laziness, and by a curious coincidence, so is anti-intellectualism. Furthermore, whenever someone suggests that writing well doesn't matter, they're actively championing the very problem that they're allegedly decrying. Few people like to consider this. It places responsibility on their shoulders, after all, but the best way to stymie anti-intellectualism is to encourage and require people to write well at all times. Reading comprehension and writing ability both result in increased critical thought and comprehension. When spotting, and avoiding, typos becomes commonplace, so does the habit of instinctually examining logical arguments. The link between the two is one of seeking out, recognizing, and understanding details, which is why the former leads so easily into the latter. Despite this, you're more likely to see folks shouting the myths of English doesn't have rules, and it doesn't matter how I write as long as the meaning gets through, than you are to see anyone trying to learn anything, and the end result is that we all slip a little bit further into willful ignorance. In this case, the hypocrisy is literally harmful. **TLDR, anti-intellectualism and defense, or dismissal, of illiteracy are the same thing. I'm tired of hearing, it's not a gun problem, it's a mental health problem every time there's a shooting. Like yeah, there's a mental health crisis in this country. You know how we could fix it? Universal fucking healthcare. It's weird though. From my perspective I only hear the mental health from peers, never the media or political parties. It's always gun control, which is obviously not a fix as guns in the US is clearly out of control. Hippopotomonstros esquipt aliophobia, fear of long words. Men are abused too, not only women. No one believes a wife can abuse her husband. Only the other way around. IDK if this counts, but asking young couples when they will have kids, who told that was an okay thing to ask, especially to young adult females. It's not okay to ask them this, but where's the hypocrisy? America advocating for less nukes while having the most nukes. Body standards. The body positivity movement is strong, and yet, men's bodies that don't match some women's standards are the punchline of many jokes that are commonly accepted. I mean, this is pretty much Amy Schumer's entire comedic routine. Particularly when pretty much everything men would view as undesirable, i.e. literally only weight really, is something that can be addressed, but a guy can't really do anything about being 5'4". Men are supposed to pick up the check. Sure. That's unfair, but where's the part that makes it a hypocrisy? Millionaire Democrats. Especially those who became millionaires while in office. How does that even happen? We need to end gun ownership. Hires armed security for their mansion. The US. In so many aspects. We, Americans, say that we're all about human rights and fighting terrorism, but we fund and support so many groups that do exactly that, and we ourselves bomb nations and kill innocent civilians. We make up reasons to go to war with other countries and strong-arm allies to fall in line behind us. They comply because we have money and lots of weapons. We are such a rich country, comprising of 7 to 8 out of the top 10 richest people in the world. Yet poverty and homelessness is rampant. Basic needs such as healthcare and education is elusive and can bankrupt people. The amount of debt that normal citizens get into as a result of healthcare and education will burden them for years, if not decades. Even with so much wealth and resources the country has, we are some of the unhealthiest and undereducated population in the world. Social media and propaganda can easily split the country to vote in a TV reality show with multiple past bankruptcies as a president to lead the country. And to top it off, just mixing guns to everyone in there. But yes, the world should look at the US as an example. No hypocrisy there at all.
Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.